right, a very good morning to you waking up to us. This is the Kokoliriko live show on Western Television. Hope you had a wonderful night, and really we are already here to also let you know of what is happening in the world of, that is news all over, that is the world, and really that is where we also start up the discussions. Right from Western sub-region, we move to national scene and summarize, that is with international stories, and usually we also do not exclude sports at the end of the show, but today we are going to be making some small adjustments because today in ARUA City, the ball games are officially commencing, and really that means that the officials have to also come and guide the schools. And yesterday, security also did issue that is tough guidelines to the schools that the schools need to abide by. Definitely, we'll also look forward to having officials, that is from the sports department of ARUA City, to come and brief the public that is in the ongoing, that is a sports tournament that is supposed to begin today, that is for the various schools. And this is where we're going to be witnessing football, both for boys and girls, and that is where we shall be having our discussions for today, rotating on as we await to have the guests anytime from now. And they will be joining us, and that is from the hour of 7:30 up to that is 8:30, and that is where we are going to be having a discussion. But before we get to have that, really, as we are also having the ongoing NRM voter registration update, and really yesterday we did have an extensive discussion that is with the Minister for Lands and Urban Development, who also doubles as the NRM chairperson for Terego District, none other than Honorable Minister, that is Obiga Mario Kania, to also caution the public against those with intentions to destabilize, that is the ongoing, but I must say in Masaka, there's a leader who is affiliated to the party who confiscated the NRM registrars, and really we did see this going on in that area there. But I must say it was on a sad notice really for a member to also do such a thing, and really that is where we did see it, but for reasons that we do not know, but I must confirm to you, National Assembly Movement leader in Masaka City has really confiscated the party registrar, jeopardizing the ongoing registration of new members. And that is something we did see yesterday going on, and Ms. Sauda Naruja, a village chairperson of NRM Gayaza Fuwe Ward, that's in Kimanya, Kabonero, that's municipality, on March 13th, reportedly stormed the venue where the update of the party registrar was taking place, and really also grabbed the register for that from Ms. Proskovia Narowega, a party village registrar, and ran away with it. And this is something that we did see going on there, very, very unfortunate. And Ms. Luja accused, that is the village registrar, Ms. Narowega, of being a stranger planted by the opposition, that is to sabotage the NRM party registration of the members. So that is something we did also this going on there, but really how will the party, in my own also understanding, really also did, how could this happen? That is something I must say was quite unfortunate, because you don't maybe think of such a thing could happen, because you realize that maybe where these two are supposed to be working together, because all of them are affiliated to the ruling government of NRM, but where they now have disagreements of being planted, you know the issues of malls have always been there. I don't know, but how this can be kicked out maybe from the parties is something that maybe if our political leaders could look into, because these issues of being called malls or being planted to sabotage activities of party sometimes also are being reported now in the ruling government. But we have often seen this, and that is with opposition groups, where so many of these cases have been registered. That is where you're seeing also storms. And now the ongoing is the issue of the money, where we are seeing people claiming that they ate money, which is also seeing in the various parties. We have seen it happening with the that is Forum for Democratic Change Party, where it is said that the issue of dirty money, which has also actually caused, that is now the two blocks to be formed, and that is one reason also we may see another political party emerging out of Forum for Democratic Change Party, that is in 2026, because it is already clear, they have already said that they look forward to having their own political party now. Also, we did see this happening with NUP, where the conflict is also going on, that is between the party president and one of the leaders actually in that party. And all this, I must say, will be able to, that is, cost these parties ahead of 2026. And now we are seeing also that happening in Masaka sub-region, Masaka City, which is to me quite unfortunate there, where a leader could grab the materials that is to be used, that is for registration, and really also accuse the village registrar of being an opposition member who is planted to also really sabotage the activities, which is really quite unfortunate. And really that is something that left the party members that had turned up for registration in shock, prompting Ms. Nalubega to record a case. That is a statement that is at Kimanya Kabonera Police Station under reference, that is 21/13/03/24, and now the file has already been reported there. And after confiscating the village, NRM party registrar Ms. Naruja went to nearby Chirimanya police post. We did and reported all concerns and boarded a commuter taxi to Kampala, Kalugala Trading Center along Masaka Kampala Highway, where she operates a retail shop. And this is something that we really did see going on there, but I must say it's quite unfortunate. And you as the viewer, what do you think about this? Because where do you think maybe such conflicts could maybe put the political parties at? Because you realize that this is not something that really is happening in only one political party, or not only within the opposition groups. Now we are seeing also some of the party members disagreeing amongst themselves. And remember, with this ongoing exercise where most of these leaders are actually eyeing the primary elections, where they actually mostly want to look into, that is, being the winners of the primary elections. This is also where we are seeing a lot of these leaders disagreeing amongst themselves. And yesterday, they were actually called upon not to go on with such incidences, and they rather have to put all their differences aside, such that they can really work together for the good, that is for the good cause of the party. And that is one thing I must say also, if at all these political parties had that in mind, that would also really very, very much work for them. Because you may think 2026 is very far, but all these really, these conflicts, all these disagreements will at the end of the day cost these political parties, because the final voters are looking up and into some of the affairs of the party. And that is one reason also we may see some of them crossing, that is, to other parties for different reasons. And really, I must say, this is something that is really quite unfortunate that it did go on there. And the national update of the NRM registrar, that's the yellow book, and registration of new members started, that's on March 13th, and will be able to run until the 17th of March, where we also see that happening. And now moving away from that, as Muslims are observing the Ramadan period, where they are actually observing fasting, where they're not supposed to eat, where they're not supposed to drink during daytime, where they're also bad, that is from doing certain activities during daytime. And this is one reason also really we are now seeing Muslims being cautious, that is on using social media during the Ramadan period. And that is something also where it's because sometimes people may use social media for different reasons, which could also really be very, very bad there, where some people may act very, very much holy, where they may act very, very much religious, and at the end of the day mislead the public, which is really something that I must say also could be very, very bad. If you do not know something during this Ramadan, I want to call upon you not to really also pretend that you know it, because the social media with the following that people want, sometimes they may engage in un-Islamic practices, which to me would be very, very bad. And Muslim scholars have cautioned Muslims to reduce on the usage of social media during the Ramadan period, really saying their posts may contradict Islamic teachings, especially when fasting. That is something we are seeing during this Ramadan that we all have to abide by, because some people may want to say maybe that is where they spend most of the time. But your eyes could also see something that is very bad. You know, social media also sometimes people post things that are really very, very bad. It's immoral acts where we see them being posted on social media. So I think also limiting your time on usage of social media could also be very, very good, because at the end of the day, we may see very, very bad things on social media, because our eyes may not be having those curtains that we usually talk of, and somebody may just put something as you are scrolling via your phone. Your eye may land on something that is very, very bad, which could also really spoil your fasting. So I think for Muslims, let's really also utilize this time and reduce, that is on the uses of social media. Really, that would also really be good there. So that at the end of the day, we may also have our fastings very pure, other than also having doubtable fastings. You know, there's fasting, but also there are times where you also start doubting, really, am I really fasting? Or is my fasting very holy? Is it genuine? That is something that we would see also some of the people members, or maybe some of these religious members also really facing that challenge from. And speaking to the media during the iftar dinner organized by MTN Uganda in Kampala, that is on March 13th, Hamid Biamugenzi said they currently people use social media platforms to abuse each other, which is really quite bad. And Biamugenzi added that Ramadan should be used for reciting the Quran there, because it can help, that is one, to get many rewards from God. That is really quite good, because at the end of the day, you all have to purify your fasting, and to make your fasting that holy one during this Ramadan period, you all have to ensure that you abide by maybe recitation of Quran. If somebody is wronging you, listen to the Quran, recite the Quran. At the end of the day, that would also really be quite good for you there as a Muslim believer. And really, I also want to appeal the same to the Christians, because they are also really in the Lent period. As we also observing the Lent period, we must also have this criteria of maybe reciting the Bible, also giving back to the needy. That is why these holy months are very important in both Christianity and Islamic faith. So I think we all have to do good things within this period, and that is one thing also I must say, if at all people get back to reciting this book, so that they upgrade their knowledge. You know, sometimes people think that they have the knowledge, yet necessarily they do not have it. That is why reciting the Bible, reciting the Quran during this very important month is very good for the people out there, such that at the end of the day, you are a holy person fully, because sometimes you think you're holy, but when you're not, because really you do not understand what even the books are saying. And he said Muslims should use the fasting period well, because on that day of judgment, Allah will depend on one's deeds, and that is something I must say also is good. And Ms. Sarah Bibatete, the CFO for Mobile Money, that's for MTN Uganda, said the company will continue to support the Muslim community through different ventures, and this time they are focusing on all Muslims performing pilgrimages, and that is also something we really do during this period. Maybe the Muslims could use for going out to Hijjah, and if it is for those who have the ability. It's not mandatory for all, but for those who have the ability, it is mandatory for you. So I think for those who have the money, this is the time that they could also use, that is for going out. And still on social media, Rubaga Deputy RDC fired over alleged social media disloyalty. This was something that we are seeing on on the media here really this morning, and I must say Rubaga's Deputy Resident District Commissioner Herbert Anderson Burora has been dismissed from his position, and sources within the presidency confirmed the news, saying that Burora's reported offense, really a complaint filed by the Office of the Speaker of Parliament, alleging he has become disoriented, more especially the Speaker, and the Speaker accuses Burora of using Twitter to undermine government officials and programs, especially disobeying his duty to support the government. And this is something we also seeing here, but really in a tweet that we did see really somebody responding to, you will realize that really this is not going on very well. But the question is, while we are serving government, really sometimes the issues of disloyalty keep on coming, yes. But don't we have freedom of expression, maybe where you feel certain things are not right? Because really, if from a party, for instance, if I'm a member of UPC, if things are not going on well with UPC, does it mean that I have to keep quiet? Really, that is something that really maybe also people need to come out and answer queries to, because if there's no service delivery, should I keep quiet? Because at the end of the day, I'm there to serve the people. Really, that is also another question that maybe we should be asking ourselves, and then that is something that really we may also maybe talk about. And the exact duration of Burora's suspension remains unclear, but appears to be first step in disciplinary proceedings against him, and that is something also really we may keep on following until last drop. If at all there is any development in relation to that, we shall be able to sort of let you know of, because at the end of the day, we expect justice for all people that really we want to see people working very, very well. At the end of the day, really, we want to see also people getting justice for themselves. That's such that at the end of the day, there's nobody left out, because really you realize that sometimes people are expected to keep quiet, but really where you have things to say, it doesn't mean that you have to keep quiet. Even when you see things are not going on well in the way you want them to go on, that is also the question where maybe I might be asking myself, because really if at all I'm serving government, yes. Doesn't mean over when things are not going on well, should I just keep on quiet, or maybe keep on praising the bad or the wrong? Necessarily I know that some of the things are not going on very well in the way that I want them to go on. And that is something also we did see going on, and this is something we are seeing on the papers this early morning, and that is one reason also I must say we have to ensure that we talk about. And really also something that we are seeing here is men continue to suffer from gender-based violence amid these cases of not reporting to police. That is something we are seeing, and we are getting to realize that men too also suffer from gender-based violence. But in most cases, when you talk about gender-based violence, people tend to think about mostly women. And that is true, because most of the victims that suffer gender-based violence, yes, I do understand, are women, but it's also now that we also get to know that gender-based violence does not only apply to women, men also too can suffer from gender-based violence. And then there are some women who are out there who are very brutal, who really do not also really very, very much listen to anybody out there. They are strict, they are very harsh, they are really very, very bad also. That is one reason also we are now getting to realize gender-based violence cases being reported at, that is police, that is by men. And now men have been urged and also cautioned against tendencies of not wanting to report the gender-based violence cases that is to police. And remember, all the security agencies have said gender-based violence does not only apply, that is to women alone, but men, girls, boys also can suffer from gender-based violence too. And that is why people have to also report the cases so that they can get help, because at the end of the day, if you are silently suffering, I must say, you may just die like that, because really you may think that you're a man, yes, you're a man, but really sometimes also this comes from society, where society thinks that men have to be strong. And if you start misbehaving like that, somebody can take you as a weakling, which is really very, very bad. And that judgment of being a weakling is something that men also really not want to take it very, very lightly. And that is why we also realize that men sometimes tend to keep quiet. That is with the cases of gender-based violence, and continue to silently suffer in their rooms there. And that is one thing that at the end of the day you realize that men just die like that. Some are being killed by the women. Really, that is something also we are saying now as men out there. If at all you realize that your woman is not doing the right thing, you have the authority to really also rush out to the nearest LCs. But before you get to rush to the nearest LCs, you can also really rush to your family members, maybe the family members of the men or the women. You can also call them and engage both of them such that you can sit down and maybe draw means to amicably resolve this. If that fails, the religious leaders are there in place. Maybe you could also try reporting to religious leaders if at all you don't want to report to police, because our culture also is against reporting to police. You realize that the issue of ARUA, that if you report somebody out to police, maybe really to also maybe also tell police about your cases at home, that this case may come back to your homes, and this could also come back and affect the families or maybe relatives who can die as a result of that ARUA, which I must say is something that is very, very wrong. And why we must also really condemn that is because sometimes these issues of the culture or tradition is actually one that is limiting from reporting the cases. Sometimes people report the cases, but because of the issue of ARUA, you find them withdrawing the cases from police, and that is something also really, I must say, is very, very much affecting the fight against gender-based violence. You realize that gender-based violence today has a lot of campaigns in place. You realize that the 16 days of that is activism are all they talk about GBV, and really all this is something that I must say is, to me, is yielding very, very low and lowly. And recently also we did see a police report being released, and you realize that in the annual police crime report of 2023, at least 14,681 cases were reported, that is of domestic violence, and really this we also got registered, and 14,846 as well as sex-related offenses we also reported, and not forgetting 10,741 child-related offenses we also recorded, that is in the police by this was the report that was captured in the annual police crime report of 2023, and really you realize that all this happened not for any other reason but really disloyalty, or maybe disloyalty among family members, which could also really be drawn, and really it may be measures we are streamlined to that. It would be quite good, such that at the end of the day we would not have these tendencies going on, and men could not suffer from gender-based violence. And you realize that men also really have reported cases in the month that is of December. 12 cases were reported by men, 13 cases were reported by men. The month of also that is January, and then February we had that is 10 cases registered by men at the Child and Family Protection Unit of ARUA City. And really the Assistant Inspector of Police, that is the Chief Christine, attributes the low cases registered by men, that is to the issue of pride and also judgment by society, which to me is very, very wrong. If you're going through something, you should not really silently sit over it, because at the end of the day you realize people are fighting and they don't report the cases. Out of the blue you hear that so and so has been murdered by the woman. That is where issues of not reporting cases have always come from. So I think to avoid certain of these activities, certain of these tendencies, people have to ensure that they report these cases to police, so that police can also do its investigations and maybe draw proper means to avoid certain of these activities, which at the end of the day would also really very, very much help the public there, because we realize that also at these schools, within schools, people are suffering from gender-based violence. Maybe the teachers also really are going through a lot. Maybe the public or enforcers. You realize that cases of gender-based violence are always there, and that is one reason also maybe we want to call upon now people, if at all they are going through gender-based violence, we need not to keep quiet, we need not to sit down, but rather we have to report the cases here. It is worse with family members, more so women, who are really working sometimes, who have more money than men. You realize that gender-based violence is at the peak, and that is one reason also sometimes you find that women tend to abuse, that is the husbands. That's really gender-based violence. I must say it is not good, and that is one reason we must, that is also make our children feel that our fathers are very, very incompetent. We have also seen that with women who are working. Sometimes you realize that more so these women who have more money than men, you realize that they want to make the children, they want to make the husbands look very, very incompetent. That's before the children. That is also something that causes sometimes depression among fathers, also the men. That is one already, that is just gender-based violence, because really these issues of gender-based violence does not only remain on physical harm. Sometimes also we see it happening, maybe abusive words, also really people being chased here and there, people being battered. Already that is gender-based violence. So I think to avoid these tendencies, people have to do a lot, because the fight against gender-based violence, according to, that is the focal point person for gender, that is West North Region, that is ANGUA. Jimmy also did talk about this, and we also did see ANGUA Jimmy also commenting about that. He says for gender-based violence cases to be avoided, then definitely we must also ensure that we work together, so that at the end of the day we also avoid gender-based violences, because more so among women, because he says as much as men could suffer from gender-based violence, women are the most vulnerable to this vice. So I think to avoid this, there's need for people to work together at the end of the day to avoid these tendencies, because if people do not work together, then you will realize that gender-based violence will continue to go on. And security also did comment about the same. We did see that is Mbigiti Jonah, the Deputy Resident City Commissioner for ARUA City in charge of IF Division, also saying that is security does not condone that is cases of gender-based violence. As for them, they're already willing to work and serve the people. So I think if you have any tendencies, you can also really still use the office of the RCCs or the RDCs, such that at the end of the day you get help. Because gender-based violence is something that is very, very dangerous. It's not an easy thing, and that is where I want some other discussions with. We are still continuing with, that is the Kokoliriko live show up the hour of, that's 9 a.m. Do not forget, we're also expecting guests anytime from now to also come and let us know of what is happening in the world of sports. But for now, let's first have this short commercial breather. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on StarTimes. StarTimes brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your StarTimes subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. StarTimes, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. We are here to continue with you up the hour. That's 9 a.m. My name is FARISH Majid, and you can also really let me know of maybe where you're watching us from, and also share your insights on some of the comments that you feel you want to put forward of using our various social media platforms. For those of you watching us via Facebook, we say thank you so much. Not forgetting also those via YouTube, you can still feel free to drop your comments there, and we shall be able to really let you know of maybe what we're discussing here. And at 8, we also look forward to having the guests, as we are going to be talking about sports. Remember, we are already in the sports period. In ARUA City, the games are actually commencing today in several venues that have already been identified, and really that means that guidelines need to be issued, because you realize so many schools are going to be taking part in these games, and where we have also been seeing violence among the schools. Now we want also to see the strategies maybe that have been put in place to avert certain of these activities, so that at the end of the day we would not see lives lost or maybe property destroyed, as that is in the case of these football games here that are starting today. And remember, something new has also been added, that is girls football, which is now very, very new. It's going to be taking place for the very first time. Maybe which school also do you feel will be able to lift the trophy that is for the girls football? There is also another thing that maybe you feel that we need to talk about. And before we do that, let's first, that is now Zombo, where we did see Zombo district leaders eulogizing the late RDC, that is Lieutenant Colonel Pius Alitema. That's something we did see going on there, because we did lose, that is the RDC recently, and really we also mourn with the people of that is Zombo and Maracha, where he comes from. Before really, that is something we also need to talk about. And Zombo district leaders on Thursday, that is afternoon, on the 14th of March 2024, eulogized Lieutenant Colonel Pius Alitema, the resident district commissioner for Zombo, who passed away. That is on the 8th of March. That's en route to ARUA hospital, where he was being rushed for further medication, but unfortunately he was not able to make it up the hospital, but rather passed on the way. And really that's something also we say is quite a sad one, because Alitema died on duty. Really something that and he is one of the leaders. We realize that one of the RDCs from this region who has been top, that's in terms of addressing issues of that is land grabbing, where we've seen him working with the community members to see to that issues of security are really taken care of. And we shall also continue to miss him as per Western Sub-Region, because he served these people very, very well, and it is something also we shall be able to miss him for. And while receiving the body, that's the council hall, Zombo District Council Speaker, that's Honorable Hassan Ringto, eulogized late Pius Alitema for his good leadership to settle and disputes among the communities of Zombo District. That is something we shall be able to miss him for. And really, Ringto advised the councillors to emulate the life of the deceased, saying that maybe they can also pick a leaf that is from the late's attributes, because if at all you're a good person, then the good attributes needs to be copied from you. Really, that's something also really that is good, because at the end of the day, we need to leave legacy, because already there are people whom he mentored, and must say maybe those who are yet in secondary, those who are the universities, who had the chance to interact with him, maybe also look at his attributes, have already learned a lot from him, and that is why we say, may his soul continue to rest in eternal peace. As people of Zombo and Maracha, we shall also be dearly missing him. So I think that is something we did see going on. And meanwhile, that is Francis Bolingo, the district councillor for Atum sub-county, who also doubles as head of opposition, that is Zombo district, appealed that is the deceased for giving conducive environment, that is for the opposition leaders in Zombo district to express their concerns. Also something that we also did see going on there, more so in line with the religion, because sometimes these leaders also come and take also come and act. That is a lot of forces, but for him, he was that one person who was very, very much diligent, and he actually gave that is freedom to everybody, more so freedom of expression, more so in terms of also religion, where we didn't see freedom of worship was also granted under his rule, where he didn't stop others from doing bad things, but really that ensuring that people do good things. That was something that we did see going on his reign, and that is one thing also we shall be able to miss him for. That is one reason also we must emulate his character. And then the person who is coming next, we also expect him to work, that is how good, that is maybe in relation to how best his predecessor worked, and how his predecessor served. And that would also really make them now, the people of Zombo, not to miss him, but because at the end of the day, if they realize that maybe the next person who is coming is just like them, the tears will be dried up, so that the tendencies of maybe saying, we miss this man, he was doing this, and really that is something also we want not to see happening, because at the end of the day, we realize most times when these people die and leave offices, people miss them for the good work, and then the people who come, sometimes also this sets the bar very high for them. Really, that is something maybe the next person who is coming needs to also put it in mind to serve just like the way his predecessors served. That at the end of the day would be quite good there. And Gabriel Okumu, the Okoro County Member of Parliament, described the late as an icon of peacemaker and also a reconciler who was a champion that is in peace. That is something also we did see going on there. And Rosa Aikora Alitema, the widow of Lieutenant Colonel Pius, thanked that the people of Zombo for giving for loving for her husband. That is something we did see going on there, and I must say we need to ensure that really we emulate some of these characters. We still cannot mourn with them, and really that's something we say needs to be talked about, and we shall also dearly miss that is him for. And we also did see the Honorable Minister for Northern Uganda, who also doubles as a member. That's also several ways from Zombo, also communicating about the same. And this is something also we did see going on there. And as she was the chief mourner, she encouraged that is the people of the family of the deceased to have hope as their father has gone to be with the Lord. And that's something also we did see going on there. And Kuching further informed the president about the desirable condition of Nebi Zombo road, as it will also be able to be worked on. That is in 2 phases. And really the road of Zombo, you realize that is not in good shape. And that is why our leaders have always complained about that road there. And really, if government needs now to come out urgently and also firstly to work on that road, then it will be quite good. And really, that's something we did see going on. And Lieutenant Pius Alituma died at the age of 68 and was born that's on 8th of October, that's 1956, and passed away on the en route, that's ARUA Hospital, where she was being rushed for further medication. But really, medical doctors have noted disavowed any information that is in relation to maybe what could have caused his death. And he was posted to Zombo District on May 25th, that is of 2022, and he will be laid to rest that's on 16th of March, that is 2024, at his ancestral home in Maracha District. And that is something we say, may his soul continue to rest in eternal peace. As people of this Western sub-region, we shall be able to miss him. That is for the good cause and really also for the good work he has been doing, because he has been serving the nation, that is with a lot of diligence. And that is also something maybe the other RDCs need to emulate, such that maybe when they leave offices, when they are gone, we shall also really maybe able to eulogize them as we are eulogizing the late, because honestly he has been doing his work, he has done his part, he has served, and that is also something we also have now to keep him in prayers for. And as believers, usually we say once somebody dies, what we usually say is that may their souls rest in eternal peace, and the only thing we can do much for them is now prayers. Because other than prayers, there's nothing more that we can do, and that is one reason also we have to ensure that we pray for them, and at the end of the day, that their souls can rest in eternal peace. And we also pray to God to maybe forgive their wrongdoings, because not everybody is perfect, because at the end of the day you realize that they could have wronged other people, and this is also where we want to encourage these people maybe whom they had wronged in their duty of in their course of duty, to also forgive them, because it is human to forgive. Sometimes it's also human to make errors, and that is why we have to that is forgive them for their wrongdoings. And that is also something we now want some other discussions with, and we say may his soul rest in eternal peace. As for Zombo, as for Maracha, we also pray that you be strong, because this is where we shall be able to also have you in prayers, because he hailed from Maracha, but he was serving of Zombo, and that is one reason also we have to now put him in our prayers for. Such that at the end of the day, there's no cases of maybe where we will say that maybe he has gone, but where he has gone, and we believe that he has gone to be with the Lord. And that is where the message of the Honorable Minister Grace Kuching Freedom did come in. Because as believers, we believe when somebody is gone, it is their bodies that are just done, their souls are still alive. And really that is where we want to summarize that discussion with. And now moving to Ginger Road Police Station, the boss has been, that is suspended over shooting ex-wife. That is really quite unfortunate. And Ginger Road Police Commander has been suspended after he allegedly had domestic violence related issues with that is in relation to shooting of his ex-wife 2 weeks ago. And Senior Superintendent of Police, that is Julius Ayembisibo's ex-wife, sustained injuries after the shooting, and really that is also something that we did see going on there. And in a message that is sent by the Police Director of Human Resource Administration, Brigadier Jesse Kamunangwire, to all police units, SSP Julius Ayembisibo's suspension is due to pending investigations, and really that is something we did see going on there. And really, but how would you, as a police officer who is actually mandated to protect the citizens, and you actually become the perpetrators of also violating the rights of these citizens, really that becomes quite sad, unfortunate, because we do understand that domestic violence is still going on. The issues of these brawls within families still tend to go on, but really how do you best solve them is the question that we must always ask ourselves as members of the public out there. Such that at the end of the day, you realize that these tendencies could actually be avoided, and these are avoidable circumstances. But once we tend to have these issues in our hands, then it becomes quite unfortunately. That is one reason. Also, we must ensure that once we have issues in our families, we do not take these issues in our hands, but rather maybe also involve other stakeholders, such that at the end of the day, we do not kill these people here. Really, you see somebody misusing the guns and really getting the gun, which you know can actually claim somebody's life, but you just tend to use it for shooting like that, then that is quite unfortunate. And really, we also did see SPOPO, that has been the DPC for Kagadi, and really that is where he would be able to maybe transferred, and that is something we are seeing. And really, this is something I must say is quite unfortunate, because these issues of the gun misuse tend to go on mostly among the security personnel. Recently, we did see a UPDF soldier shooting, that is the fiancé in Machidi, something that we was really quite unfortunate. After shooting the wife, this girlfriend, I must call her fiancé because the two were not officially married, but it is said that the two had for long had issues among their families. But really, my own advice to you is that if you feel that this person does not love you anymore, please feel free to move on. There are people who will love you for who you are. Not everybody is going to love you. This is something I also believe that maybe if at all people have these tendencies of working towards, at the end of the day, they will have maybe help towards that, because issues of fights among families always tend to go on, but really without any necessary solutions. But how best can we avoid these tendencies now is the question that we need to also have to ensure that it is something we also need to talk about. Because at the end of the day, if we do not really help ourselves out, then definitely these tendencies of the gun misuse, also the tendencies of these fights tend to go on, and really they leave people behind, and really they also affect the families very much there. So I think the issues of maybe gun fights among security agents, maybe security personnel, is something that needs to be addressed. Maybe also if the security trainings also talk about these issues here, then that would be quite good. And really that does summarize that topic there. Now let's also move to women, and really remember this is a month of women, and definitely if we don't talk about issues related to women, then that's quite unfortunate, because we are still talking about women. March is a month that is said to be for the women, and this is because it is also a month where we celebrate the Women's Day. So I think it is very much important for us to also talk about that is women. And confidence is key for women entrepreneurs. That is what Minister Evelyn Anita is saying, and really we're also seeing that also very true, because if we not really support the women through giving them the confidence, then they may not be able to serve that is diligently, and they may not do their work very effectively there. So at the end of the 2024 Uganda Development Bank Women Entrepreneurs Conference, State Minister for Finance, for Investment and Privatization, Honorable Minister Evelyn Anita, emphasized the importance of that is confidence and determination for women in business. And really you realize that with the several initiatives that are coming in place, and really we did also see the GROW project being launched by the President recently, and this actually targets the women entrepreneurs, and that means that they have a lot of chances now to actually benefit from the GROW project there, where they can actually borrow the money to boost their businesses. But really the issues of confidence is very much key, because if you give somebody maybe money who is not empowered, maybe in all aspects, the money may just be misused like that. And that is why we are seeing sometimes people misusing the PDM money. You realize that people are coming to withdraw the money, but when they are leaving, you find them going back with the mattresses, you find others going back with the speakers, yet they are actually also written down their proposals where they're going to use this money for. And really that is quite unfortunate, because tendencies of people also misusing some of these government funds is coming as a result of the confidence building that maybe is lacking. So I think, in my own opinion, if at all we talk about this confidence building in women is quite good. I want to side with the Honorable Minister, Evelyn Anita, and say this is very true, because if at the end of the day we do not support these women, then definitely the tendencies of that lack of confidence can actually cost them, because somebody is going to do business and some of these people is going to employ more than them and more educated than them, or maybe more rich than them. So that the issues, and without the confidence, definitely they are not going to work effectively. So I think that is one reason the issues of confidence building is very much important, so that at the end of the day these women can do their works effectively. And Minister Anita highlighted three key ingredients for success, one of which is confidence, and then secondly is proper bookkeeping, and thirdly is effective product marketing. And these are very true in business, and really you know that she's a businesswoman, one lady who has actually invested a lot, and sharing her opinion, maybe her ideas in with these women in business is quite unfortunate. Sad that at the end of the day maybe somebody out there who loves business but has never maybe engaged in business can also pick a leaf from. That is one reason also these women needs to be that is supported. And these factors, she believes, are crucial for that is driving women's business growth and achieving that is gender inclusion in the Uganda's economy. That is something also we are seeing maybe is quite good. And drawing inspiration that is from her childhood, Anita shared the story of her mother, a fishmonger who defied limitations despite lacking formal education. Her mother's unwavering confidence, Anita stressed, is a powerful example for aspiring female entrepreneurs. Definitely, sometimes we get to engage ourselves in business just because of the inspiration that we draw from others, which is very important. And really, I want to also believe that if at all we associate ourselves with people who are in business, we are going to learn a lot from them. And that is one reason maybe if any lady out there is having the dreams and aspirations of doing business, we need to ensure that we copy a leaf from them. We associate ourselves with these women, so that at the end of the day, we do not leave anybody out. And really, that would also really be quite important there. And that is one thing also we want to say, let everybody out there also copy a leaf from, because at the end of the day, if you do not copy it, then definitely that is something that we could also really lag by in terms of development. Because a business is something that I must say is very important. And really, if at all we engage in business very well, at the end of the day, we would see maybe our economy also developing, and then we would move, that is from the bar line to the money economy, where we are now talking about money economy. You realize that several government initiatives are already in place to secure that maybe the people move from the poverty line to the money economy that we want them to reach out to. You realize that several government initiatives are already in place. You realize that PDM is working, the Myoga is also still running. And then, for the women entrepreneurs whom we are targeting right now, the GROW project is also there. It has recently been launched. It also is also targeting people who are within the refugees camps, and there's a portion that is supposed to be given to refugees who are doing business, and then the host communities. And really realize that some of it from the 13 districts, those are recognized as refugee hosting districts. This money is actually very much important for you, and really also targets you. And that means that those who are living within, that is Madiokolo, those in Terego, those in, that's Koboko, and not forgetting other places where refugees are hosted, that is maybe in Chenjojo, Kamwenge, where those refugees are very many. This money is actually for you now to also actually get yourselves ready for. And we must ensure that we take advantage of these monies. Let's ensure that we also prepare our mindset to receive this money, so that at the end of the day, we also realize ourselves moving out of the poverty line that we're talking about. And really that's where we want to summarize our discussions with, and we also move out and moving on. Civil servants overwhelm government verification exercise. That is also something that we are also seeing there, also very much important there, because at the end of the day they have to ensure that they verify maybe themselves. And the Minister of Public Service is concerned about the overwhelming number of public officers showing up for the exercise than those initially planned. So I think this is something we are seeing here now. And this has been attributed to new employees recruitment, and that was done after the validation exercise of the Office of the Auditor General. And this is something also we did see on Monday this week. The ministry commenced, that's the second validation exercise of public officers who were partially or missed, that is the validation exercise by the Office of the Auditor General that was held at a close of last year. So I think that is one thing also we didn't see going on last year. The validation exercise was going on, but some people missed out, and that is where maybe these numbers are coming from. And according to Catherine Bitarakwate, the Permanent Secretary, the ministry has been forced, that is, to revise the validation schedules, that is in order to avoid spillovers, that is from the earlier released schedule. So I think that is quite important. At the end of the day, we want to see all these exercises done successfully, so that nobody is going to be left out, and people do not also have tendencies of maybe that they were not verified and yet they tried their best, and that is also something we want to see not happening. And Sabia Nampandu, the principal communication officer at the ministry, said the revision of the legislation will see a few public servants accommodate in particular time and place where they will also really come in and also have themselves validated. And Nampandu said those who do not have required documentation will be attended to the following day, and that means that by the following day it has got more people than the plan. So I think that is also something where we're seeing this happening. But really, when they are doing their planning, didn't they have all this in mind, that maybe the numbers could be overwhelming? And if I told the numbers are not overwhelming, what other criteria maybe did they draw to see that these are also catered for? Because really you realize that that is something really we also have to talk about, because if we do not talk about this, then definitely we could be able to be left out, which could also really be very unfortunate there, and at the end of the day that could also really leave people out. And that is one reason we want to say those officers who still want to be verified, they need to do so, because at the end of the day, maybe when the repercussions coming for those who missed out, they will be able to exempt themselves, because they will say they tried their best, but really it was the public service office maybe would not actually work for them because of the criteria, and because really you realize that At times, people do not actually go for this exercise because of the long queues, and really with these long queues, maybe they could actually draw other means, where we are, for instance, where we are heading to, which is the digital world. If at all these people were actually to verify themselves online, that would also really be quite good. Maybe self-verification would also really be quite good, where they would be allowed, that is, to submit various documents, which to me would be very good, because you realize that maybe people are not doing that because they feel that there's something that is not going on well, and really maybe in terms of the long queues, maybe in terms of other things, that would also really be quite unfortunate there. And that is one reason also really we want to talk about, and that is one thing we summarize that discussion with. And moving on, President Museveni's investment deals raises concern for PPDLO. That is something we are seeing here, and really we want to say President Museveni's practice of awarding investment deals directly from State House has sparked concerns among local investors in Uganda. And really, while the government touts that is these deals as initiatives that is to attract foreign investment and stimulate economic growth, critics argue that the approach undermines that is transparency and fair competition, and ultimately hindering that's the development of local businesses. And that's something we are seeing here. And President Museveni's administration has long been criticized, that is for its centralized decision-making process, with many key decisions, including that is investment deals being made behind doors, that is at State House, which is really not going on well with critics. And they feel this would also really very much affect that is other maybe businessmen. So I think that is something we're also talking about. But you as the viewer, what do you think about it, that these investment deals can be awarded behind closed doors by the President at State House? Isn't this going to maybe also cost, that is, the local investors? At the end of the day, that is also something I'm leaving to you as the viewer to also really have your comments said on. And if at all you have any, you can feel free to drop them on our various social media platforms. And the practice has raised eyebrows among both local and international investors who fear favoritism and lack of accountability in the allocation of lucrative contracts and incentives. You realize that also sometimes our procurement departments and contract awarding committees are faced by these challenges because people feel there's no trust. Maybe they feel that they do not trust the process, and that is one reason also they have been raising conflicts, and that is why they also want to see maybe these contracts awarded that in broad daylight, such that at the end of the day these fears can be avoided. And you as the viewers, do you think that would also not draw the same maybe fears among the people, and that's why they're raising their conflicts? And really that's something we're seeing here. And we say the impact of this approach on local investment cannot be overstated by bypassing established channels and awarding deals directly from State House. And the government creates an even playing that is field all local businesses who may struggle to compete with the foreign companies backed by the political connections. And that is something we are seeing here, and we feel maybe that could also be the case. If at all they feel they're not content with what is happening, they can also really maybe still fight this, so that maybe if Parliament is not to pass that, it will not be good. Because really realize that if maybe this to be awarded by one person, then definitely that would also have its own negatives. And really I believe it is coming with its own positives, but maybe to the foreign investors it may come with more of the negatives. That is why they are fighting that. And furthermore, the lack of transparency surrounding that is these deals fuels mistrust and skepticism among the members of the public, and that is why they want, and that is why they do not want to see that maybe also being streamlined, so that at the end of the day I would not have these tendencies of maybe people losing trust in certain of these awarding committees. And critics argue that President Museveni's continued reliance on State House or to broker investment deals undermines the principles of good governance and democratic accountability. And in a country striving to attract foreign investment and spur economic development, transparency and fairness are essential prerequisites for sustainable development. And to address these concerns and restore confidence that is among the members of the public, stakeholders are calling for greater transparency and accountability in the decision-making process, which has over time been lacking there. And this includes establishing independent oversight bodies to review investment deals, ensuring equal access that is to opportunities for local businesses, and that's implementing clear guidelines for the selection of investment partners. And that is something also we are seeing here. And then maybe if at all the president, instead of maybe wanting to award this from State House alone, and these local investors feel, if at all they were able to draw boards, maybe boards that is responsible for this, that would also really be good there. And you as the viewer, what do you think about it? Do you think that is the right way that President Museveni can actually sit at State House and award these investment deals maybe to the foreign investors or the local investors from State House? Or you want to see the bidding process as it has been, where we have seen tendencies of people having mistrust, people having, that is, fears, that is in these committees already. What do you think? As a viewer, you can also share your opinions with us, and really we will be able to read them loudly and clearly. Then I say, we are still continuing with the show. This is still a Kokoliriko live show that comes your ways every Mondays to Fridays. That's from the hour of, that is 7 a.m. until 9 a.m. And today is the final edition, that's for the week, and we shall be able to bounce back on Monday. But before we do that, We are still going into our second hour as we bounce back shortly from now. In the second hour, we are looking forward to having guests, and we are going to be talking sports now, because you realize that we are heading the sports period, and really football is back, where we have oftentimes seen cases of strikes, rampant strikes resulting from this period. And last year, if you remember, after the sports period, you realize that so many schools actually went out of hand, where we did witness this, the school strikes spreading like bushfires from one school to another. That's in most schools within Western sub-region. And really, we also want to condemn that. We say within this sports period now, we do not want to see tendencies of violence among the students, and already security did issue guidelines. We did see the security led by the police, Josephine Anguche, also did go into some of the schools. We did see at ARUA Secondary School, which is actually one of the schools that has the highest population, also did really talking to the students also to ensure maybe how they can conduct themselves within this period here. And definitely we shall also be talking about that, because we do not want to see violence. We realize that these schools have already been issued gazetted guide, maybe venues, where we do not expect to see some of the students who are supposed to be in the other venue crossing here. And definitely we shall be able to talk about that in the next hour. But for now, let's first have another short commercial break. We bounce back shortly. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on StarTimes. StarTimes brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss unleash Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your StarTimes subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. StarTimes, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. We are continuing with you up there at 9 a.m. This is the Kokoliriko live show on West Nile Television channel 0073 on Zuku, and also online from wherever you chose to watch us from. That is, we want to say thank you so much. And now we are having the two guests in the house, and we are talking about sports. This is not Whistle Time, but this is Kokoliriko. But really, we also do not limit ourselves. That is us Kokoliriko live show. We are there to keep you informed. That is updated of what is happening in and around the world, and that is where also we do not limit ourselves in sports, because that is also where we want to keep you entertained. And remember, today the games for secondary schools will be able to be kicking off, and that is said to be from 9 a.m. from the various designated venues. So meaning that you, as the members of the public or the viewer out there, if at all you want to be part of these games, you could actually also get yourselves a move. That is to one of the venues where you will be able to access these games from. And really, I'm joined by two guests, and I am, on my right, I'm joined by, that is ANGUA BENARD, the chairperson, that is of ARUA City Sports Games Association, and that is for the head teachers. And he also doubles as the head teacher, that is St. Peter's SEED SS-ALIBA Secondary School. Meanwhile, on my left, I'm joined by CANDIA RONALD. He's the sports officer, and really, if I can be able to solely maybe introduce them very, very well, to also introduce themselves to you as the viewer, that will be quite good. I'll start by one on my right. That is ANGUA BENARD, to also start introducing himself to the viewer. You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Presenter. My name is called ANGUA BENARD, chairperson of Teachers Games and Sports, ARUA City Secondary Schools, and also a teacher, St. Peter's SEED SS-ALIBA.
Right, thank you so much for joining us through. And I'm also joined by, that is the City Sports Officer. You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you, moderator. Listeners, CANDIA RONALD is my name. The City Sports Officer, ARUA City. I'm privileged to be here at this particular time.
You realize that during this period of sports, in most cases, our schools are faced by a lot of maybe challenges here and there. Over time, we have seen that happening. What new strategies have you developed this time round to, first of all, also curtail some of these challenges? But before we get into that, how are the games going to be on? Maybe if you can also briefly tell us how the games are going to proceed, because we do understand there's a new development of, that is the girls' football. I will start with you, then later on the sports officer for ARUA City will also add more to that. I will start with you, Mr. ANGUA. Also tell us maybe, as the chairperson of the Sports Association of Head Teachers Association, maybe how have you conducted yourselves with the rest of your colleague head teachers to see to it that these games will run smoothly? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. We have very many meetings which we organize at the school level, and this preparation of these games has started during game sales meeting at the school level. People also did a lot of meetings. Then from the game sales meeting, we talked a lot to the game teachers about how they can manage or control their students. And this, what was also discussed in the game sales meeting was actually taken in the head teachers meeting, which recently we had on Tuesday in the Tarantino. So in our meeting there, head teachers actually emphasized the issue of the time management. Then they also emphasized on using non-qualified players, because in most cases those are some of the sources of the of violence, where when the school is using non-qualified player, and once it is realized, that's when it becomes a problem to school B. And also officiation was also emphasized. These are all done in order to avoid cases of violences, actually, because when the referees do not do their role as expected, that's when people don't take it as a serious thing. Then they begin taking the law into their hands and disorganizing the games. Then the issue of also all students in these various schools, because the old students are the source of the indiscipline also. You'll find that the actual believing we used to do. That's what actually. A lot of what? Marunji, opiums, and so forth. This was actually warned, and the security meeting was also done yesterday with the DPCs we have our 3 DPCs, then the EPDF fraternity, and also RC was in that meeting as the chair of the security. We had that meeting yesterday. All these are done to make heavy deployment in the way these schools are going to play. The good thing which I can talk also inform the public is on Monday, the assembly of Mvara Senior Secondary School was addressed by the management of Ombachi. Then yesterday, the assembly of also Mvara, rather George College Ombachi was addressed by the management of Mvara, where our disciplinary chairperson, head teacher RSC, Mr. Muzurasi, and also RCC was in the attendance of this assembly which took place yesterday. So all these are done to ensure that we have peaceful game. We have sanity in these games here. So we have done a lot of our preparation. There will be heavy deployment in all these venues of Okea, Elifre Stadium, St. Peter's SEED SS-ALIBA, Giaco Primary School, then also Idiofe, which I'll have, and also St. John College of Basi, where these games will be taking place. We are going to have patrol vehicle also moving on the way to see what we can do.
Okay, if I can be able to bring in Mr. Chandia also to tell us more, maybe, because I do understand that the venues have already been designated where a particular school is supposed to cross over to the camp of another. What if in this way we may have a student who is supposed to be, let's say, camp A, crossing to camp B? Maybe what other punishments are you going to be having for such schools, maybe for such students who will be able to be crossing from there? Because that is one thing we did see also security talking about, that where we expect maybe, let's say, school A is supposed to play from Jaco. They're not supposed to cross to Mbara where school D is playing. In maybe some circumstances where we may see this happening, what other conditions, maybe other punishments are you going to have for such schools?
Thank you. What the chairperson gives us first has put what the meeting result. A number of issues were discussed. Last Saturday, I happened to attend the meeting with the games teachers, and one of the emphasis was on the discipline. The discipline begins with the teachers. I told them, let them be exemplary. Two, they should make sure that the discipline of their students should really be seen properly. I instructed that they should be, before coming for these games, they should have meetings and a kind of briefing of students on how they are going to conduct themselves. How we don't expect these students to be crossing from one venue to another. We expect them to be in school uniforms. Therefore, if a student decides to move from one station to another, that is already an offense. And such a student, if identified, has been punished. Those were some of the measures. But the most important is this year, we really don't want these issues of hooligans. As the city or the entire region, previously we have been getting very bad image outside there, because after you see games activities are to bring people together. But in our city here, it has been opposite. You will find that after maybe losing, the student will go back, begin to destroy school property, do whatever sort of things which are not really good. So in a recent meeting, it was strongly emphasized that this time around, all teachers should incorporate, because if you say this is the Department of Games and Sports, the games teachers should be responsible, compared or coupled with the number of students. This one person or two people cannot manage. We say all teachers this time must come on the board. When all of them will be around, I think the level of discipline will be observed. So those are some of the strategies we discussed.
Yes.
Secondly, some of these students are influenced by community. I was with the RCC, and I want to thank you people greatly for giving us this opportunity. We are not going to sit down. With the RCC yesterday, he has given us airtime. We shall move all over to these radio stations to sensitize public. We also realize that it is the community that they are influencing, that they are giving drugs to these students. Some of these misbehaviors are done just because of the drugs. Some of these students do these things under the influence of alcohol. And where do they get this alcohol? It is the community. So we are going to make sure that the community should be well sensitized about the radio, such that they should also support us, because this element of hooliganism must not stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe what message do you have for these students who are to be influenced by the community members, as you have said earlier?
One, we said all students, when they are moving out, they must be in school uniform. And my advice, and I'm appealing that they should desist from such kind of behavior. They still have future. If a student involves him or herself right now in drugs, definitely this one, he has got no future and not be a good leader. So my advice is that let them desist away from drugs. Let them concentrate on in classroom activities and the co-curriculum. This is where they will be earning their living. That is my message to them.
You know, we are having games and sports as a component that is of the Ministry of Education and Sports. Now bringing back to teachers who are a bit very, very much lenient. I do understand that so many of the schools have gotten themselves registered. Maybe what about those schools that did not register to participate in these ball games, which are supposed to be compulsory? What other measures are you going to ensure that you deal with them accordingly as the relevant authorities? I will be handing that to you, Mr. ANGUA Bernard. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I answer that question, I want to add something about the engagement of the students, especially when they move in the field, because one of the sources is moral boosting. Because as head teachers were saying, moral boosters must not be moving from one end to another. That's what we are telling to the students. You remain where you are cheering your team, and the goal nest will be left free. We don't want to see people behind the goal nest, because that's where we also have a lot of confusion. You find that the moral boosters, when they see the keeper is very tough, they end up even stoning the what? The keeper, disorganizing the keeper, so that the goals can be scored. So we are warning the schools, if they are to go and the moral boosting, they stand in one place, no moving from one end to another. There should be no drums and the logs, which they move up with them. So because some of them also pick the logs, stones, and those we call weapons actually. Those ones are not good. If you are singing the song, sing very good song, not obscene. See, there's common song with this student are singing tomato, banana. But if you have to explain this,
but this is what makes this period very much interesting among the students.
They call it Christmas for them. Like as I speak right now here, even some have raced to some of the venues. I was recently being called by some students have already raced to the venue of ALIBA. Very early in the morning, they have scattered themselves all over the
from St. Joseph's College,
all over the what? All over the road. They are like stopping the vehicle from passing. So the community even is so concerned, they call me about that. So those issues are not good. So I'm advising generally, if you are let them show that sign of being a student. So related to these schools which are not participating, we have 30 active secondary schools. In fact, they are supposed to be 33, but some of them merged together. But out of this, we have about 24 which are going to participate this time in these activities, where those 5 or 6. And these 5 or 6 are the ones they actually reported to us official, some wrote letter. For example, we have ARUA College. They wrote letter to us because of their head teacher who passed recently. Because change of secretary and so forth, the running of the activity of the games needs money. So, and also there, one of the board members died. That is by names of Mr. Andiano, who was one of their board members, the environment officer. So it disorganized them. Plus other schools, they also put it in a written form because it is the Ministry of Education and Sports, where you are supposed to participate and develop the talents of the what? Of the students. Because some of the students may not do well in academics, but they may do well in the what? Sports. In the sports in activities. We have ever sent students outside to some of these universities where their sport activity has actually advertised them in most cases here. So those are issues which we're emphasizing. And if you refuse to participate purposely, that's when you now, we have a disciplinary committee of head teachers like science or reporting. So that disciplinary committee will call you, then will explain. There's always a fine for that. So taking for instance, St. Joseph's College Embassy, it was outside, not being banned by us, but it was PTA and the Board of Governors said that they should remain. Then also come after when they performed to the expectation. Then when now they excelled last year, they had to come back to play these games. So we welcome them. Currently their games they will be playing in St. Peter's SS-ALIBA, which is Kokoliriko. So in fact in all these places we expect, has been said, enough this has to be said. Then the community, in fact yesterday we said alcohol selling around the venues must not be there, because this is going to affect the life of the
yes,
student.
if you can be able to realize, you realize that maybe some of these schools are not that's participating in the venues that where they're supposed to be. For instance, if you look at Group C, where we do have Cornerstone, that is where we'll also be seeing a game that is between Cornerstone and the Robic, and then the second game will be Ombachi versus All Saints, that is Ochiba. Then later on, we shall also be having that's a game between Adumi SS and Late Corner. Ombachi will also come through and have that Cornerstone, and Robic will be taking that's at All Saints. But really, what criteria did you use maybe to identify some of these venues? Because you realize that some of these schools are not participating at their own fields. For instance, I look at St. John's College Ombachi, they're not participating at their own home grounds. They have been taken to those ends of outside where they're supposed to be playing from. Why did you maybe do that, and what criteria did you use for maybe separating these schools so that they cannot participate at their own home grounds as well?
We don't want school to take the advantage of home ground, because when the school is playing in their own ground there, there's that stuff on the which may be there. Even as I speak right now, St. Peter's SS-ALIBA, the SEED is not playing there in their ground, and they are playing Infra Stadium. They are girls in the Jacob Primary School. So we have only left one school, that is Pokea. Pokea, generally, as they are on their home ground. We trust them.
Is it because
in the rest they don't do much.
Okay.
They are disciplined. Even the management said, let us try. Okay. In fact, we are about to move them away. In fact, in the process of picking, when they were picking the venues, in fact, this venue, we directed some of them technically. We didn't like the bigger school to meet on the way. Let them move out of the town, then so that we don't have much problem. Much as we emphasize this issue of discipline assemblies, security issues, emphasizing as a management, we're emphasizing everything at the school level, but human being is human being. Those weaknesses are there. This drug abuse, which is a problem in Western Nile, more particularly in ARUA. This is where our challenge. In fact, most of our games are affected by this drug abuse. People are halfway mad, because some of them have decided to become mad already by taking some of these things. Okay. So that's what we are actually in. We appeal to the public to help them, the community to help them. Like in the ALIBA, have chosen some people there, whom I call them camera people. Not these Kanyamas. These Kanyamas will be moving. I want to ensure that the church house is protected fully. No one should not go and drink. That is the Church of Uganda school. Then I want to also see that the primary school is not touched. If you are going to watch a game, you watch a game. So those Kanyama groups will be facilitated. We make sure that we, not by the association, but by the management of St. Peter's SEED SS-ALIBA. Once see all these games end peacefully, because we have larger populations there in ALIBA. So St. John's College Ombachi, we also have what? ARUA Public. This school with the larger population. And the route, and also Cornerstone. These three schools have large population. And the route to ALIBA is the easiest actually. It looks very far, but the road is just okay. So I know many people are going to pour there to watch their games.
Yes, let me bring in the sports office a little bit here. You realize during this period sometimes some of the schools use transport means that are not favorable, and one which have been also stopped by the Ministry of Education and Sports, that is to ferry these students here. For instance, the use of trucks. What criteria are you going to maybe use to see that these schools do not ferry these learners using these trucks that they have been banned, but rather they have to use the buses for transporting these students here, because you realize that these trucks come with their own disadvantages, because you realize that they're not, first of all, they're not effective, they're not efficient, but really, and also Ministry of Games and Sports also did come out clearly to stop that. Maybe what criteria do you have for these schools that are going to be using these trucks that have been stopped by Ministry of Education to transport the learners?
Maybe before I go there, there was this issue, what we are going to do with the schools that are not going to participate. we don't have private citizens. Citizens. All these students are citizens of Uganda. Whether they study in private schools, in the public secondary schools, we say we are guided by the policy. Therefore, as a city education department, we say all these activities should be must be done by all the schools. A school that fails to participate, the head teacher will appear before reward and sanction committee. But with the exception of our colleagues, I think everybody understands that. We know what happened. Our expectation is that all these secondary schools must participate. I was in the office, SU office. It was one, I think, I only got one letter from our colleagues, which everybody really understands. But for other schools, we are going to compile the list. Of course, the commission also wants the list, which schools participated and which did not, and why. So there will be some disciplinary measures taken against the head teachers. Therefore, I want to say that come next season, the head teachers and stakeholders will make sure that they follow the guidelines given by Minister of Education and Sports. This also applies to primary. Primary department, right now they are preparing children for kids athletics. Yesterday we did them for a meeting, and Tuesday we also having another meeting with head teachers. It is a must that all, whether public or private, all children must participate in these co-curricular activities. It's very important. Okay. Coming to the other point you raised, it was about
the transport means.
The transport means, yeah. According to Ministry of Education and Sports, we say these students must be transported using
buses,
just close roofs or buses. But when head teachers sat together with games teachers, there was that request that some schools do not have trucks, these buses,
the minivans,
and it is a bit expensive to hire, but they have other trucks. How are we going to help them? That answer could be best answered by the traffic department. For our locality here, we say now the school can use this vehicle. One is the condition of the vehicle must be assessed. This is open. Two, there should be no offloading. The number of students who are going to board the truck should be limited. So this year we gave that. But now those schools that will qualify for regional game, we shall not allow them to use this open. They must struggle to get a bus to take our students safely to the regional game. This time round, yeah, we say, yeah, let them try, but the number of students must be limited. Okay. Yeah. That's what.
All right. That is.
It was a kind of request made by some head teachers.
Okay.
And we responded.
That is very clear in relation to that is the use of trucks, and then that means that for one who may see the students now using the trucks, you must not be worried and you must not be scared, because he has already explained that elaborately there. But now we are going to be running for a short commercial break. And when we return back, and then the sports officer also will be able to tell us maybe what awarding, maybe merits may be given to these winners of the school, maybe of the schools, because we are having one activity that is going to be taking place for the very first time. That is ladies football. It has never been there. We've never seen competitions for secondary schools taking part in these ball games for ladies, and he will be able to tell us more about that. But for now, let's first have this short commercial break. And when we return back, we shall be able to pick up with the conversion from there. Thank you.
Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on StarTimes. StarTimes brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your StarTimes subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. StarTimes, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from that short commercial break. We are yet to continue with you up the hour of 9 a.m. and we are still discussing that is sports and really how best we can actually ensure that these games run smoothly. And remember, one addition that has been made to this sports period is the fact that we are going to be having ladies football. So if you want to see maybe the Ronaldos and the Ronaldinos of who are ladies, and then this is the time we are going to be witnessing maybe who exactly will be able to show us those skills, and maybe which school will be able to take up the trophy that's in ladies football there for the very first time. The inaugural tournament that is for the women is actually taking place this time. And this time around, we may also want to identify maybe ladies who may play football, and then from here, we expect them to move to the next level. That is why the ladies football is being introduced. And first of all, there's need for inclusivity, as we are already talking, that's inclusivity for all, where everybody has to be catered for, and this does not also limit itself to sports. And because we do understand sometimes these ladies actually can also raise our flags very, very high. And with the ongoing, that is all Africa Games, you realize so many ladies already there. and also these ladies who may also be playing this football right now today in our various secondary schools could actually maybe also be promoted to represent the nation in the coming years, and that is why this ladies football is very, very much important in my own opinion. And really also, if I can now be able to introduce Mr. ANGUA Bernard also to let us maybe know of how prepared and then and how maybe they're also going to be rewarding these girls who may be declared the winners, and maybe are there individuals, maybe awardings that could also go to individual players who may not be able to reach the finals. Most of the first, like how we have seen it in other leagues, for instance, Champions League, maybe Premier League, where we say this is the best team. Are there maybe those criteria that you're also going to be utilizing to see to that you motivate these ladies? That would also really be very, very much. You're most welcome back from the short break. And really, if you can be able to take over the floor and let us know of maybe how you're going to be awarding these schools, it will be very, very good.
Yes, thank you very much, Presenter. Just some little background on girl football. It's not a new thing, and in Western here, it started a long time ago.
But we
started with Ajumani. Ajumani has been participating, but in Ajumani you don't see netball taking place there. There has been actually football. Now, girls football. Then last year, doesn't mean that it's going to be our first time. Last year we have 5 schools in ARUA city. They actually competed in this girl football, and we had Diofe, Rimoni, Tarantino, and then the other schools there. But when he was the champion that year for last year, 2023, the champion.
Meaning this is the second edition for
this
us.
is the second time for ARUA city.
Okay.
Now. Yeah, that's the location I wanted to make. So concerning what he will be given to them, and this year, because USSSA has come up with a clear guidelines that football girls is ball game 1. As it is now ball game 1, it means ball game 2 will now be what? Netball, which we used to do in a reverse way, and also in ball game what? 1. In fact, it's supposed to be ball game 2 netball. So in that regard, over 15 schools, or close to 17, registered for this tournament for girl football. So it means that's why we have 4 groups for them. So they are going to play this game. In our Heads Association, we have the awards and trophies. That is from position number 1, 2, up to 3. That's where we have the what? The trophy for us. So the same will also be for what? Second as boys football. We also have that award from 1, 2, and what? 3. They will go with the trophies. Then we have the certificate. Then the best player, if that one will be notified by the referees, the technical people, also at the same time also the best keeper, we used to talk about them there. All those rewards, if FAN will allow, we are going to look into that. The top scorer for the tournament, the best keeper, and also
the most valuable player.
The most valuable player, actually. That's what we are going to look into. Okay. But above all, at our level here, certificates will be given to schools for all those who have participated. Yeah, then the trophies will be awarded also. From now,
maybe what message do you have for this girl child who is going to be taking place in these games? That one message for this girl child who is very, very much passionate about these games.
They should not take this game for granted, because this is a game. Even some people are going to see trophy in the first time in their school, maybe by winning this what? Girl football. So this girl football, when you see Japan playing, other nations playing this football, can take them very far. They should really put emphasis on this game here. So they should not only think that it used to be boys kicking well or what. You will see somebody scoring like also men are doing. So that's what we want. They should put more interest in this game at their own time, so that as we are introducing more games on the board, then next year it means another game will also be brought in. So we need to expose, they should develop their talents, because if somebody plays very well, can even have that even sponsorship to go to universities. So sporting activity is so important. So girls outside there, those who have been fairing, let them have their sporting attires also, and it's be able to play this Oriako. Though this period will be over, The Soriaku is so important. It makes us to build. You kick it where you are facing. That's what we want. Then from there, players can come out of it. Okay. So let them do that one. Though this competition will be over, it will be continuous film. Okay. So that next year we have a better competition.
As we are running out of time, also
transaction is not something new. Girls football is not new. Okay. As is mentioned, it has been the Moyo and the Juma.
Yeah, Moyo and Juma.
Very, very active. In primary schools, for games, normally when we go for national, they normally match the champions. Okay. That particular area.
It means for them they have been prepared for that.
Which means this child who has been introduced to football at early stage, right from primary, must graduate. And this what we also going to now do as a city. We want us also this girls football to start right from primary, such that when they graduate, they should now be at a certain level. That is very good.
Maybe if I can also be able to bring Mr. ANGUA Bernard to have his final say, because we're running out of time. I also have to let you go so that you can go and oversee the rest of the activities. And really, I know you're very much needed there to also go and start maybe checking the referees, checking the fields, checking these ballers. I'll start with you, Mr. ANGUA Bernard. Then the sports officer will summarize. In just 1 minute, maybe if you can put your final words, because usually we say work without play makes Jack a dull boy, and that is why the component of games and sports calls for football and maybe these co-curricular activities, and that is why for schools who may want to examine themselves, you must be warned, and really you have to ensure that these learners go for this period here, because it is part of the curriculum, and that is why the co-curricular activities are very, very much important. And you realize that component of PE is usually there. Maybe if I can be able to have your final say in one word, and that's in maybe 30 seconds or 1 minute, and also make him summarize as we summarize this show for today.
Thank you very much. Otherwise, to the public, to the schools, let us go and watch these games. And as we go and watch these games, we should really have discipline, proper discipline. Well, let us guide these younger kids, because these are our children, future leaders. We should really work together to see that we have sanity and a peaceful game. And then after this game, we come back to resume with our academics, because we're not going for war. Please.
Maybe for how long will the games run?
These games will run for 8 days. We shall have our finals on to the 3rd. Then to the public, as usual, they used to think that we are playing the finals in evening, but we shall begin these games at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. will be the time when we begin these games, because we have third position, which people normally prefer losers game. For me, I prefer to call it what? A third position. Then from there we shall proceed up to the finals. By 4 we already done with the finals. So people should keep time. Transportation of the players should be in efficient vehicle, so that we don't have buses here. But if you are taking the students to the playground, overloading should not be there. And the efficient vehicle should be used. Thank you very much. Let us go and watch these games, because ARUA is actually a place to enjoy the football.
Usually we say Western Nile Sub-Region is the center of that's Ugandan football, and I also make you maybe have a final say to these schools and then to the learners also who are going to be taking part in these activities in just 30 minutes or 1 minute perhaps.
One, discipline must be paramount. Start with the teacher. 2, the learners and the students are many. All teachers should run behind the games teacher, such that they enforce the discipline together. 3, by 4 p.m. sir, the last whistle must go. This will now allow these students to reach to their various schools early. You know, darkness is not really okay. God created it, but people do a lot of evil things. So my appeal to games organizers that they make sure that by 4 p.m. the student must go back to their various schools. Community, let's protect our own daughters and sons. We should not influence them. We should not give them drugs that can divert their minds. As a city, we shall be monitoring. Personally, I will be moving together with some staff to see how these games are going to be conducted. As said earlier, we shall continue to sensitize public through social media. Right now we are doing this. At a certain moment we shall go to another radio station, the office of RCC and the police. I urge you to do the needful to make sure that there is total peace during these 3 days. I know at the moment, in the group stages, there will be no much tension. But when we reach at a certain level, tensions will come. Please, my people of ARUA City, we have a talent. Let's try to develop these talents. A good number of our boys now and they are living through this. Live example is ARUA City. ARUA City Football Class, Club. A good number of boys are now earning there, living there. So let's not sit down on our talent. Parents who are against this, let's also desist. Some parents always say games and sports is a wastage of time. I must say it is not. We are supposed to develop child holistically.
Okay.
So those are some messages.
Right.
I feel I should pass to the public. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for coming through, and we do very much appreciate you and really for coming through, and also let the public know of how prepared you are, because really you realize that so many times we have had our schools not really going well with these games, and how they have always ended has never been good. If I can give an example of last year where we did see these schools also not really behaving very well at the end of the sports period, which was really something very, very bad, and that is why at times we have also seen some of the schools exempting themselves from participating in these games here. But this time round we are hopeful that with the several initiatives that have been in place, yesterday we did see the security officials moving to the schools, which I must say is very, very good. We must also commend them for. And also with people moving to the various institutions to talk to these learners is something that we also want to appreciate you for. And we must say we expect the best outcome of these results, and maybe of these games here, so that at the end of the day we would not see maybe cases of violence, maybe cases of looting, as we have often seen happening over the years. And to the former students, we would not expect you also to mislead these learners, because it has come to our notice that sometimes it is the former students who mislead these learners here, which is really quite unfortunate. And really with that, we come to the close of today's education. That's the edition of the Kokoliriko Live Show. And we hope you had a wonderful time as the viewer. Let us catch up again till Monday. And for now, we sign out and leaving the way that is for the AOL as a news team to come through and let you know what is happening in the world of news. Thank you so much.
Thank you.